This week we are reviewing Mortal Kombat 2, the follow-up to 2021's Mortal Kombat. Will this movie test your might, or will it test your patience? Let's find out. Hello and welcome to Middle Age Geeks. I'm one of your hosts, Daz, and that is Phil. And this week we are reviewing Mortal Kombat 2. This is the sequel to 2021's Mortal Kombat reboot, which was, for all its best efforts, a pretty disappointing movie reboot, and because it had so much promise. And this one is out to set the record straight. It's returning to direct is Simon McQuoid, starring Karl Urban, Adeline Rudolph, Martin Ford, Josh Lawson, and loads of other peeps. The budget is reported to be 80 million, and the brief synopsis is as follows. It is the fan favourite champions, now joined by Johnny Cage himself, are pitted against one another in the ultimate battle to defeat the dark rule of Shao Kahn, who threatens the very existence of Earth's realm and its defenders. And Philly, I'm dying to hear what you thought about this one coming out of the cinema.
Well, first of all, apologies to those of you at home who just see me in the white void here behind me. I am on holiday, but being ever the consummate professional that I'm recording from here in Lisbon. I am ready to counter any negative points you come up with, because this movie, to use the parlance of our time, it slaps. I thought this was great, man. I thought it was so much fun. I was smiling at the end of it. I really liked the whole the fact that they kept so much of it in the other realms, Netherrealm and Outworld and all that kind of stuff. But that's where they had it. I think that having it around with your man's family and everything, the first one, like having all that shit happen in our world, it was just, that was kind of the real downside of it, for me. Whereas this, I just thought, it was just so much fun. It's got that just wonderful campiness to it. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I loved the choreography. I thought the humor, for the most part, was pretty good. There is a bit of it that gets a bit much, but I was a massive fan of this. I really had a lot of fun with it. What about yourself?
I echo some of your thoughts. There will be a few negatives that I'll try to bounce off you. I had a really good time. There's a lot to like in this movie. I loved Karl Urban and Adeline's characters, like Johnny Cage and Katana. They're not so much steal the movie, but it's really centered around their characters and their character arcs, and thought that was really great. The movie, for the most part, looks fantastic. Some of the stages ripped right out of the games. The fights, for the most part, are super. One in particular is show-stopping. It was just unbelievable. It's, as you said, it's very funny. It's very gory. And thankfully, Cole Young from the first movie is not in it that much, which was fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. And why he's not in the movie that much is excellent. But some of it at times came off. There's a few scenes, it's just like you're kind of watching a TV movie. There's a lot of exposition dumps at times, and I know you have to do that to kind of tick the boxes with people who haven't played the games and all that, but there was lots of characters that just really threadbare, too many characters fighting for screen time at times. And I know that it's a Mortal Kombat fucking movie, and I'm not a stranger to the games. I've been playing the games since the 80s in the arcades. I've fucking played every single one of these games. I love it. I love the campiness. I love the madness and the storylines that are just wild and wacky and all that. And this is so much better than the 2021 version. So much better. But there's moments in this, and I'm very aware that I'm trying not to review the movie that I didn't get, because I hate when reviewers do that. But there are a number of moments and aspects of the movie where you're just like, why isn't that better? Why isn't that better? They could have done some kind of things that would have just elevated it up even more, and it was there to do it, and they didn't. And there are just moments in the movie that remind me that this is the same director that decided to put Cole Young in the fucking first movie in the first place, which was just, it's great that they not so much retconned it, but they have rehashed it completely, and this is like its own movie. Yeah. This is kind of starting again almost. You could even take Cole Young out of this. But there are parts of that where you're just like, oh, why are you doing that? Or why are you not doing that? But yeah, if it was on again, I'd watch it in a heartbeat again, just for a few spectacular moments. And some of the humor, especially toward the end, is just hilarious. But let's get into some more specifics then. Character-wise, what was your view kind of overall of them, if you want to take us through a few of them?
Well, I suppose, but one that you mentioned already, Cole Young, what's the actor's name? Louis Tan? Is it Tan? I think that, as you said, he's not the main guy in this, but I think that when he does fight, he's there's some more kind of bravado to his fight. There's some more to his character a little bit, that he's not as fucking annoying. Like, he's not the guy who just gets battered. So like, I appreciate that. I thought Johnny Cage was great, because Johnny Cage is essentially us. Like, he's
Mm,
our link, he's the audience, because we're in this fucking insane world of,
mm,
fucking other dimensions, and a tournament for the fucking the destiny of the earth and all this kind of stuff. But he's like our, almost surrogate for the audience, because with all the shit that's going on, he's the one that's saying,
mm.
this is fucking nuts. Like, I'm pretty sure I had it. You said at one point, I'm pretty sure I had an aneurysm, and none of this is actually happening. That,
Yeah,
like, I
yeah,
think
yeah.
I like that he's kind of bridging that world for us, between, like, let's say, Liu Kang, who is so serious about what's going on and the tournament, and he's bought into it completely. And, Raiden, and his seriousness, that he's just that kind of one who's keeps in check, like, looking at the audience, kind of going, this shit is all mental, right?
Mm,
So I really like that. I think with a movie like this, though, like, I know the critique might be that the characters aren't maybe fleshed out enough, because this is the first time we're meeting Katana, Jade, Shao Kahn,
mm.
since the original movies, not since the last movie. And I get that people might complain that they're not fleshed out enough, but this we're not going to get that in this game. This isn't, standalone movies for each of these people. So, like, I don't really have. I don't think it needs to be seen through that lens, where me and you would watch a movie and say, what was their arc? I don't think in a movie like
Oh,
this
yeah,
you
no.
really need an arc. I mean, it's not that. I think it's not that kind of movie. I think it's enough to kind of give us a bit about them and throw them in. I think the idea is that you that I really should know a tiny bit about the games, really. But that's kind of how I felt about it. Like, I loved Katana. Thought she was a cool character. Jax really stepped back quite a lot, I thought, in this
Mm,
one. He wasn't really into it. I think it was and this isn't a spoiler, I think it was fantastic to bring Kano back. I
yeah.
know people say, I know that's a complaint, and I think I've complained about movies in the past where you're like, does anybody actually fucking stay dead? But like,
Yeah.
but if you were to say, like, if you took Kano out of this movie, would it be a worse movie? And I would say yes. You know what I mean? So, like, yeah, whether you had to bring it back if you're happy with it or not, I really, really enjoyed him. I thought he was fucking great. The lines that he was just coming up to slag off, people, and calling your man like a fucking Voldemort's fucking dildo and all this kind of stuff. Like,
Nutsack or
just the
something.
shit, the stuff he comes out with. Yeah, yeah. I thought he was great, and like, I think it's just the whole. I think for me, I like Kano. Same for the first movie. It's the apologetic thing, like that. He's not looking. He doesn't have some sort of sorcerer power, gain the power of the universe, control this
Mm,
world. He's literally just wants to get laid and get money, and
yeah,
that's
yeah.
it. He's just a simple. But I think he's brilliant. What about you? Like, you do what? I mean, are you on the same boat as bandwidth with me, with the fact that, did you want these characters to be more fleshed out, or?
Not really. I mean, like, you're always going to focus on specific characters. There is some stuff online. It's just kind of like, oh, we don't. There's too many characters on screen, and like, there is a lot of characters in these movies anyway, and you kind of want to see as much as possible. But there are, like, obviously Johnny Cage is the standout, and he does get an arc, and we've always, like, it's okay to want an character arc in a movie like this, and you get it, and it shows how easy it is. He's the washed out has been actor. I love the way he plays it, and we open with him, and it's just fantastic. He's at this Comic-Con, he's just sitting there on a table with all his merchandise, and no one coming up for a signature, and it's just like, he really sells that, and you see some cool retro fight scenes of his fucking stupid movies from the 90s and stuff, and it's excellent. And he has that arc where it's just, he kind of comes around to having some more self-worth and a purpose again. It's brilliant. And then the offset to that then is perfect with Katana and her link to, like, Shao Kahn taking over her world, and then she becomes his daughter, and it's just her rebelling against him, and that's enough for me. And then you put all the rest in around them. It's great. But, like,
Yeah.
my problem is, when Karl Urban just arrives, and Sonya Blade just literally goes around and just explains everyone where they are, gives 10 seconds of, like, this is Liu Kang, he's a champion, blah, blah, blah. This is Kung Lao, he's it's just, it's kind of like, it's to get everyone up to speed, but it's just, it's such poor writing.
It's clumsy
And
as shit, yeah.
yeah, it's like, my main thing, like, and these are things that don't really matter, but they matter a little bit when you can take maybe a 3-star movie and make it a 4-star movie by putting a bit more effort into the writing. More so because some of the the comedy in it and some of the one-liners, and especially Johnny Cage and Kano. So it's excellent writing. It's really, really, really funny and situational humor. It's excellent. You're kind of going, how is there a drop off to the rest of the dialogue? Where you're like, are the writers of this movie, are they just comedic writers, or did not? Why is there such a disparity between the dialogue? You're just hoping for a little bit more in that regard, but it's not the point of the fucking movie, and I don't get held up on that too much. But yeah, no, I really enjoy the characters. But Jade is in it, and she's in it for a little bit, and you get a hint of her and Katana's kind of relationship and stuff. But it's so like surface level. It's kind of it's one dimensional. It's just there's so much more to that. But Katana's relationship to Shao Kahn was excellent. Like I really enjoyed that.
Can I ask you a question about Jade actually? Because I'm that's what's her face. God, my brain has gone blank. Tati thing, isn't it? Gabrielle.
She's in the new Naughty Dog video game. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course she was in another video game movie. She was in Uncharted, and she was in this Chilling Adventures of Sabrina and stuff like that. But I think I did see a complaint about someone online saying that it's, like you said, very thread kind of bare. But I think that from my experience of her in the games, obviously she doesn't look like that, but she was really kind of a stoic character anyway. Like she was, just this loyal servant and stuff of Shao Kahn. Like, so do you think that they were trying to keep her that way, make her mysterious, and maybe keep the character open for development for another movie? Or was it just a case of, listen, we've too many characters here to be fucking giving her any time?
Yeah, like you'd hope that there's kind of more to come for that character, because I like her character in the game she's pretty interesting, because she is devout to the princess, to protect the princess Katana, and she has such a great relationship with her, but also she is so like fucking militarized, but Shao Kahn he's the guy, but we don't get enough of her kind of backstory, because we just get a line that Shao Kahn says, I've picked you up when you were foraging around the streets or something like that, and it's just that, and hopefully maybe we'll go back into that the way we kind of see Katana's kind of history, and we get some flashbacks and stuff like that, and it really works. And that brings me to like Shao Kahn. I thought he was fucking excellent for someone who's essentially it's a voice playing behind a mask, and his brute force is just fantastic. My one issue with, I guess, Shao Kahn is the fact that they play it up that he's like the side quest, when he's getting his amulet and getting it powered up, which is in the games, but that makes him kind of immortal, and that's the reason he's unstoppable. But like if anyone's played Mortal Kombat 2, he's the final boss, and I've smashed so many fucking controllers and everything around me with that. He's such a horrible boss to try and beat. So he's an imposing motherfucker anyway, and whenever he just doesn't have the power, he's kind of beaten easily, actually twice in this. And it's like, but even with the power taken away from him, he's still a fucking badass, But his just seeing do his shoulder charge was just like, I was shouting at the screen. I was like, yes, please.
Just on that, like I like that we got to see, like, say some characters at their very small amount of showing their powers and stuff, but like fucking hell, like Liu Kang was just fucking fire all over the shop.
Oh, he's
like,
walking around with it in his hands.
He's fucking, he's got fucking everything. He's just non-stop on fire, that dude. But I loved some of that stuff. I think Shao Kahn, the only thing that bothered me about his whole outfit and costume, because I loved most of the costumes. I thought they were great. Like Jade, okay, the character looks a bit different, but her costume was very like the game.
Awesome.
But the fact that Shao Kahn's eyes didn't change, or they just stay that red, there's no anger, confusion, nothing. I just wish they did a little bit more something, because he's got this cool fucking costume, great prosthetic work on him and stuff. I was like, just have that tiny bit of something in his eyes to show when he's angry, because he just looks the fucking same the whole time.
When you have somebody that's masked up, you really got to let them try and do something with their eyes, unless he's an awful actor and he's just physically kind of good. Who knows? But yeah, performances were just pretty good across the board from what people had to do.
Can I ask you one more, before we move on for performances? Because this is one thing, as I said, I love the movie, but like I just wasn't a fan of Sub-Zero in this. Like I thought Sub-Zero in the first one was fucking badass. I don't know, I just wasn't a massive fan of him and how they handled his character in this. Like barely the dialogue he was given was kind of minimal, to say the least.
I think that's the one thing when you go back and watch the 2021 version, like obviously the Scorpion and Sub-Zero thread that goes through that movie is the best thing in it by a mile, and it makes you kind of cry that they wasted that in the last movie. If that was kind of part of this movie as well, and make it 2 hours 20 minutes and cut all the fucking nonsense kind of in the middle, would have been amazing. But like, I know they were kind of, when Behan comes back, and he comes back as Noob Saibot, and it's like he has a ghost thing that kind of comes out and all this stuff, which is kind of, it works in terms of visuals from the game, but they try and play that up. Like his dialogue doesn't work when they're bringing Scorpion back and he can exist in hell, and they have their interaction again, and it just kind of falls flat. You're kind of going, I know you're kind of rejigging the whole thing and changing it up for audiences, but we still have seen that 2021 version, and we still know they've got through some serious shit together. Like, they are, as enemies go, they're just unbelievable fucking characters who detest each other. I thought that whole sequence in this didn't really work for me when I went into hell. It got a bit too VFX heavy. The camera's kind of swinging around and doing all this stuff, and it's like, that part didn't quite work for me. But cinematography really, in terms of the staging of the fights, was pretty badass for the most part. The highlight obviously being Liu Kang and Kung Lao when they're fighting in the kind of portal background thing, which is just one of the most amazing stages and stuff. But cinematography was great, and it married very well with the visual effects on show here. Like some of the, as we said, the backgrounds were incredible. Like the acid pit, seeing that just makes it warm and fuzzy inside. It's just like, and seeing get somebody thrown into it is even better. But camera work was pretty good for a lot of the fights. And in terms of set design, marrying with that, some of the sets were great. But then, I don't know if you thought, like, some of the sets, it kind of showed its budget, or maybe lack thereof. It just seemed like it was the corner of a soundstage, and it's like kind of a corner of the set, and just like, where's the rest of the set? And those parts kind of look cheap. And that's why most of my problem with this in every aspect is like, it goes from, Jesus, that's really good, and then there are parts that it kind of drops down considerably.
There's a couple of bits like that. The part when we bracket, and that's the sand thing. That fight feels like that they're just switching it around to make it look like it's a much bigger set, because like it's a super basic set, and I wasn't a massive fan of how that looked. Same as you said, Daz, when there's a part where they're kind of underground going through the cellar or whatever it is, and you're like, that looks like they have just darkened one of the other sets that they've already used earlier to make it look like it's underground. Like, I get that, but I don't know if you can use budget as an excuse. But if this cost 80 million, because that is a lot of money, like me and you have talked about how budgets get spent, and like the creator, I think, was somewhere like between 60 and 80 million, and we saw how fucking incredible that movie looks. There's a plug for our very first episode if you want to go back and check it out. But you can see how well that budget can be spent on sets and effects and stuff like that. So I'm not sure if they can use that as an excuse here, but yeah, some of the sets did look a bit hokey. I guess with this thing, when movies are effects heavy like this, I guess I can sometimes find them a little bit hard to follow, and I think that's in Hell is when that happened. It was where it was most stand out to me, especially with the fact of, as you said, Scorpion having that. Or not Scorpion, Sub-Zero being able to, split or whatever that was. Like, I found that a little bit difficult to follow. I think not just was it effects heavy, but I was a little bit like, who the fuck is where? Like the geography of it just had me had me lost. I was like, I'm just gonna hopefully this part of it is over soon, because I just almost getting motion sickness from it.
Yeah, no, definitely there was kind of a disparity in VFX and kind of production design and production value at times. And normally we only kind of touch on music if there's a score that really pops out and, really makes us go, wow. But in this one, it's the opposite. Like, not that I hated the music, I hated that there was no memorable music, and they played Mortal Kombat
they touch
music
on that,
just at the credits of it. They touch on it in a little bit, and there's bits towards the end when you're just kind of going, when there's a final battle, and when you're hoping it's the final stage of a battle, and you're just hoping, like, I was just screaming, it's fucking screaming, bring in the fucking music, let's go, and it just kind of petered out, and you're just going, it's just, as we always kind of say, that kind of, action fight music template tree, from some audio pack. I'm doing a fucking disservice to the composer here, but just for what I kind of wanted from it, there just wasn't really any good fight music to go with the fight scenes, which annoyed me a little bit. Did it annoy you?
Yeah, like it was as you said, it was so basic action stuff. I would have liked to maybe hear a proper rework of the original tune. You know, like you think of the original
Yeah,
Mortal Kombat, we hear that song like 3 or 4 times in the movie. Like I would like to
yeah,
see or have heard, sorry, some sort of remake of that, or just a rework of it that maybe is a little bit more of today rather than the 90s. That would have been cool. But like, well, I didn't. It didn't bother me that much, really. Like,
yeah. It's just me.
I was, yeah. But I think as well. Like, I think they kind of cut out as much as they've talked about the tournament and all the rest. I think they played it quite loose. You know, there was certain. We know this is the big fight for
Yeah, yeah.
it's a 10 to have if you win X amount of tournaments in a row, and it's good that they kind of stuck that, but they kind of went off it a little bit, and I think I missed a little bit of Shang Tsung, I think, from that, because he was the one doing the whole finish him, fatality, all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. When this, he was more of a creepy kind of wizard in the background, and I think that kind
He's
of that kind of
underserved in
took it,
this, you know, because
yeah, yeah,
he's always in even when Shao Kahn comes to the fore as the big bad, Shang Tsung is always there, and he's just this devious, mischievous fucking dude, and he just kind of pops up in a few scenes here, and maybe they're setting him up, hopefully again for the third one with himself and Quan Chi. But yeah, he was definitely underserved. But in terms of the fights, like it ticked all the boxes. There's 1 or 2 fights that are kind of piss poor. Sindel and Sonya, I thought it was just like
the end of that
Sindel
fight
just does
was
her
excellent.
her fatality, and all the fatalities in this are just fucking brilliant. They're all just like cheer out loud. But in that, before that happens, like Sindel is just using her scream move, which is great to see on screen. You see it in the trailer, and it's like, that's great. But she just keeps doing that, and then the fight lasts about 40 seconds, and she's killed, and just gone. You know, in the game, she fucking, like, you've got 80 million to play with. In the game, she uses her fucking hair, and she's fucking doing crazy shit and flying all over the place. I thought that was just a trick missed, and some of them were kind of like, oh, that's an okay fight. And then you get Liu Kang and Kung Lao, which is fucking spectacular. It's like spectacular.
Badass.
Everything comes together. The two of them, they're obviously martial artists, so it's a very martial arts heavy fight, but there's also fireballs been thrown around, and Kung Lao fucking his hat around like a motherfucker. It's just unbelievable, and the setting is absolutely gorgeous. And that's one of the best fight scenes in Mortal Kombat, but it's one of the best fight scenes I've seen in quite a while, in terms of its inventiveness and its visual flair. That fucking blew me away. But I thought the final fight with the kind of Katana and Shao Kahn was a little bit, it didn't live up to that Liu Kang Kung Lao fight, which was a shame for me. It kind of petered out a bit, which annoyed me.
Yeah, I think because I think maybe they were kind of doing like they do in a lot of these movies. You know, this group are fighting over here, this guys are fighting over here, these guys are fighting over here, and they kind of maybe have to pick and choose which one they want to give the most time to, or what ones they want. And I think way more love was given to that Liu Kang fight than was to what should have been our ultimate fight. But at the same time, I mean, the choreography was still so much fun in the fights. I love like Kano was maybe so much more confident with his like the eyeball thing in the first one. It's real.
Yeah.
He's only getting used to it, and he's like, "Oh, fucking eyeball! It's better than fucking fireballs, whatever, you pussy." And he's like, "Oh, Liu Kang," but he doesn't really fully get it. Whereas this, he's using it as part of his fight. Punch, stab, eyeball, fucking thing. I really like that they kind of
they missed the trick, giving him a fucking metal red eyeball. Though I hate the fact that the laser just comes out of a normal eyeball. It's just that irks me, and it shouldn't, but it's just like really annoying.
Because that's one thing they did nail in the original Mortal Kombat. They gave him that fucking full-on red eye look.
Metal plate kind of thing. It fucking looks cool. Before we get into spoilers and kind of giggle about some fatalities, do you want to give it a score?
Yeah. So I love this, but I'm also very aware that there's a lot of faults in this. But for like, I'm not going to give it like 4. I'm not going to give it 4. I think 4 is way too high, because I would reserve that for really excellent movies. But I think it's a really good 3.5 for me, because I just had an absolute blast. I was smiling right at the end of it as well. I just got a kick out of it. I was entertained the whole way through, even for its faults and some really dodgy dialogue here and there. I had an absolute blast, and I wasn't expecting much. And what it's done, what I really appreciate is that it's delivered. Like they've learned from the first movie a good bit. I'm hoping by the third movie they've learned some more, but bringing Cole back, like taking they're downgrading his character and making it more Mortal Kombat itself heavy, tournament wise and stuff, not fucking this random dude and his family and all that kind of crap. Forget that. So I think they've learned a lot of lessons, and I appreciate they've listened to fans and done that. So let's see what happens if hopefully he gets to round it out with a third movie, which I reckon he will, because I think this is doing pretty well.
Yeah, I'd give it 3 because I really it's a really good 3-star movie. I really enjoyed myself. There's so much. It ticks loads of boxes for me as a Mortal Kombat fan, and I think it would tick a lot of boxes for people going in for just if you're in the right mood for kind of a campy fun. Like a lot of movies are kind of like dumb fun, that kind of stuff, but they're not. They're just dumb. They're not really that much fun. This is kind of a silly, kind of dumb, fun movie that is a lot of fun with fatalities, fan references, ridiculous gore, and it's tied into the video game lore more, but on the bad side, it's kind of messy pacing and uneven dialogue. It's absolutely shocking. And we still don't get a fucking Raiden fight, which just pissed me off. More of that in spoilers. So yeah, that if you're leaving us there, that is our review of Mortal Kombat 2. It's like 3 or 3.5 stars. Go check it out because it's a lot of silly fun.
Yep.
So now if you're hanging around, we will talk about a few little spoilers, which mostly revolve around blood and gore and some questionable decisions from the director. So what was your favourite fatality then?
Well, I actually thought of you in this was when Cole got killed, because I knew you'd be absolutely delighted,
screaming at the screen.
And his death does not disappoint. Like Shao Kahn and the fucking sledgehammer, and then we see his whole head. We see just guts, like blood, all over the ground, and then just the indignity of just kicking him over with his foot, sliding him off the acid, that he got a fucking proper death. And they even before that he talks about how he's there. He's a family. He's his wife and his child back home, and he's there for them. So they really hammer home. This guy has a family, and now we're going to kill him. Yo, fuck me.
We're going to obliterate his skull. I loved that moment. I just even seeing him in that fight again, when you're just like, oh, he's just absorbing hits and stuff, and kind of going, finally, Shao Kahn did what everyone said in the first movie, just hit him in the fucking face. He doesn't have any of that armor shit in his face, in his head. And that was glorious. And that is one of my annoyances with Shao Kahn, because he is immortal at this moment. He has
he would have won.
The amulet.
If Shao Kahn didn't have
Cole Young beats him. Yeah. He stabs him numerous times, slits his throat, and and it comes back to normal. And you're kind of going, why are you still giving this guy he's this massive fucking hero? I know in the first game he's a descendant of Scorpion, but we're moving past that. So Shao Kahn essentially kind of dies twice in this movie. I just hated that. He should have he should have had more power anyway. He should just annihilated Cole Young properly, and that would have been fantastic. The fatality that probably wasn't the most glorious, but it was Kung Lao and Liu Kang when they ended their fight, and his fucking, when his hat is just in the ground, how he pulls the hat back with his fingers. Oh, hat keeps coming back. That fight is just amazing, but it's spinning around the ground. And Liu Kang is sorry, or, because Kung Lao it's evil Kung Lao, or raised from the dead. But he just allows him to punch him. And as he punches him, he goes back and just grabs his arms and just pulls him down onto it. And luckily, he didn't split him in half, because it's a bit too much for Kung Lao. But he's just lying on the ground there, and the blade's still going, just ripping his fucking stomach to pieces. And it was just...
And I love the fact that the camera
slowly stops.
Yeah, the camera actually comes out and pulls out to show you what's happening on his back. Yeah. Like as if we can't see it enough. It's let's just really show it.
Yeah. Oh, that was absolutely fucking glorious. But when I was talking about the questionable decisions, it's when Liu Kang gets stabbed by Shao Kahn, and it's one of those, and he just has this kind of little monologue, which is oh, this is not what I'm meant to do, or something like that. Raiden told me that I'm not here to fight this. My purpose is to save Kung Lao. And I said, when the fuck did he tell you that? And he just turns into a fire bird or something, fucks off into the sky, and you're just oh, what are you doing? What? That's when you realize the directors made the first one and they're doing something stupid again. Oh.
Yeah, no, I actually do very much agree with that. And I think that was when, towards the very end, they have that line of, we need to go and save our friends. It was one of the last things. Wait a second. So you're planning on bringing back, because Jax gets absolutely murdered as well.
Arms torn off again, yes.
Yeah, he gets fucking torn apart. And there's and he gets stabbed right through the fucking, throat or
It's
whatever
good
it is.
death.
You're like, okay,
Yeah.
great death, but like they're talking, we have to go and then we have to go and save our friends. So I think that not just is Kung Lao going to come back, I have no doubt that we're going to
They're
see
all coming back.
Liu Kang, fucking, Jax, they're all coming back. There's no way that would be just the way they'd kill Jax off, without what's her face there, Sonya Blade and stuff, to have her fucking reacting and going bananas and stuff. They were 100% going to do that in the next movie, and that's okay. I would totally behind bringing Kano back because of what he adds to the movie,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
like not everybody has to come back. Like Jax, would it really be an amazing movie any less of a great movie if third one if Jax didn't come back?
Yeah. But the two little points of the things I didn't get were when Raiden is incapacitated, kind of with his throat slits, light coming out of his throat, and he's incapacitated, and Shang Tsung comes in to kill him, and I'm just like, oh, here we fucking go. Here we go. It's just like, is something going to happen here where Raiden comes back to full health, or in another version is Raiden, is he not totally incapacitated, he's just weakened, and they have a fucking full-on battle at the end, and then he finally gets his powers back, because there's a wonderful line from Shang Tsung. He says, when Raiden comes back to full health and becomes a god again, he goes, you should be dead. And then Raiden, electricity starts coming in, and he says, and you should be running. And you're going, that should be the end of their fucking battle. That was amazing. I thought that was going to kick off a huge fight between the two of them. I was like, this is going to be... Just even give us a tease of maybe what might come. It might come in the third movie. Just a little, 30-second battle with them, and like him transforming and mutating and Raiden just, showcasing what a fucking god he is, because his electrical effects in this are done so well. They just look so fucking cool. They look really realistic.
Yeah.
And then the last bit then was when, what I was alluding to earlier, when Shao Kahn is, when the amulet is destroyed and he just becomes just back to normal again. That's when the music should have come on, and Katana and him then should have had a proper battle, not just her just do 3 moves and kill him in an amazing fucking fatality, but they should have had a proper, just spliced his head to pieces with her fans. That was amazing. But that should have been another minute to 90 seconds of them just going toe to toe and her just eventually beating him to a pulp, because she shouldn't be able to kill him that easy just because he doesn't have powers. But yeah, that's what we didn't get, but hopefully we'll get that on in the third one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that is the review for Mortal Kombat 2. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will be back next week with another movie. I'm not sure what it is just yet, but thanks always for liking, subscribing, and share the podcast as much as you can, because it helps the algorithm and all that kind of jazz. And give the video a like. All right, take it easy. See you in the next one.
Bye-bye.
Come here!